for me, I bring a special mission to be here and to speak up for Hong Kong people and to urge the international community to stand with Hong Kong and support the struggle of Hong Kong people, and also to be very aware of the human rights violation in mainland China. Contrast to the secret visit from the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, which remind the public in such a short notice, and up until now we still don't know the content of the discussion. My arrival and the message I bring in here is very clear. We need to address the human rights violation to China, even we have to engage with them, and we have to be very aware of their infiltration and their authoritarian expansionist nature. For me, I'm a Hong Kong activist. I was elected, but unfortunately and eventually unseated by the Chinese Communist Party. And I've been witnessing their gross human rights violation for the past years, including the suppression on the freedom of religion, including the suppression on the freedom of expression, and the things happening, the concentration camp in Xinjiang, the cultural annihilation in Tibet, the military intimidation to Taiwan, and also all the military moves in South China Sea. These are human rights violations that we should address, and of course for Hong Kong people who have been under the suppression of the Chinese Communist Party, which we were promised autonomy and democracy, but at the end of the day, with the newly implemented national security law, our autonomy is completely annihilated and our democracy never arrived. So these are important messages that we should deliver to the international community, and we should be really aware that China, as what they have been doing, is not going to address these problems by themselves. For the West, for the past decades, we have been adopting appeasement and engagement policy, hoping that China, with the economic growth, they will open up and they will democratize. They will handle their internal human rights violation. But for now, we know that we have had the wrong judgment. So we need to address to them whenever we have dialogue with them that you need to fix your human rights violation. We, the democracies, are very aware of that, and we understand that with your authoritarian expansionist nature, that this authoritarian regime will actually damage democracy. So for Italian government and all the democracies around the world, I urge you to stand together to defend democracies before it's too late, to safeguard our democratic values by standing up against the human rights violation of China and the expansionist nature of that. And we do it multilaterally, cohesively, and working together. So, well, for the Italian population, we should not forget that the problems that we're having now, the global pandemic, is also because of the authoritarian nature of the Chinese government. They silenced their whistleblower at the very beginning. They allowed the pandemic to grow, and they refused to take responsibility afterwards. So we have a lot of people losing their jobs, losing their lives, just because of the mistake made by the authoritarian government. And from the point of view of centralizing power and silencing dissidents, it is inevitable under their governing structure. So for me, it's clear that the second largest economy in the world, the most powerful authoritarian regime in the world, is posing threats to democracy, including using measures of infiltration, including using the influence of their state enterprise like Huawei to have a lot of spying or information transfer and so on and so forth. And this problem is being addressed by the Joint Committee in the chamber, the Intelligence Committee, and they have also expressed their strong opinion on having Huawei as one of the infrastructure company of the 5G network. So this, I think, is also important to be addressed and to be valued by the Italian government.
Good morning, Mr. Law. Paolo Santalucia from Associated Press. The Italian government and also Europe have already said that obviously they're worried about what is happening in Hong Kong, but they did not take any concrete steps. So what are you urging? What do you want concretely? Do you want to stop trade agreement? Do you want sanctions? Which kind of concrete step are you asking to Italian government and to Europe?
Well, the first concrete step in regards to the visit, we urge the Foreign Minister Damio to address Hong Kong problems and the human rights violation to China during their dialogue. Because this is important that we're not only expressing our opinion from the parliament, but also from the governments. We need to stick to a strong point of view, even though we are demanding actions. But before the actions, words are also important. So this is the first step that they could do. They address this problem during the dialogue with the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, and we'll see whether they will do. They have done it in the later dialogue. And furthermore, we need to work together to form a stronger alliance to go against the authoritarian expansionist nature of China. Several things that I've been upholding, for example, using Magnitsky Act sanctioning on those Chinese officials who are responsible for the human rights violation in Xinjiang and in Hong Kong, and also reviewing the preferential treatment because of Hong Kong is lacking the autonomy. And these measures could really impose a warning signal to China that if you do not address your